Hello, my friend. I'm so glad you stopped by my channel. If you're here for the first time, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends or family. It really helps my channel a lot. Please tell me in which city or country you watch this video. I value every one of your comments. So, let's get started. A soft spill of light from the hallway stretched across the polished wood floor as Evelyn Dorsey stood barefoot in the kitchen, her fingers trembling slightly as she arranged utensils beside two dinner plates. The low hum of the air conditioner did little to ease the storm churning in her chest. Inside the oven, a roast chicken sizzled beneath a glaze of citrus and thyme, Benjamin's favorite. On the counter, a chilled bottle of craft beer sat waiting, condensation trickling down its sides like unwilling tears. But tonight wasn't a celebration of love. This dinner was a quiet goodbye. She smoothed her hand down the sleek navy fabric of her dress, the one that hugged her curves and dipped just enough at the neckline to distract from the tension in the room. Her hair fell in gentle curls, lips glossed with a hint of pink, and the flicker of a single candle sent a blend of cinnamon and wood smoke into the air. On the outside, it looked like seduction. But beneath the surface, Evelyn's pulse beat with muted defiance. 10 years had passed in this marriage, 10 years of routines, of obligatory gestures. Benjamin, steady, emotionally articulate in theory, had turned into a background presence, more familiar than intimate. Evelyn felt like an extra in a life she no longer recognized as her own. "I want more," she murmured under her breath. What that meant, she couldn't always articulate, just more. Her closest confidant, Daphne Rivas, had been urging her toward this moment for months, her voice slick with rebellion during wine-drenched conversations and wicked grins. Daphne had broken her vows more times than Evelyn could count. "It's not cheating," she'd always claim. "It's reclaiming yourself. It's finally breathing." After a while, Evelyn stopped resisting the idea. Tonight wasn't meant to be a confrontation, not until Daphne's last message arrived. You either snap the chains or stay elegant and empty. Choose your cage. The front door creaked open. Then came the dull thud of Benjamin's boots hitting the rug by the entryway. He was home earlier than expected. "Hey," he called out, loosening his tie as he stepped into the kitchen. His features were etched with fatigue, the long day carved into his expression. "Smells incredible. Is this all for me, or are we hosting someone?" Evelyn offered him a measured smile. "Just for you." His gaze moved across the table, noting the details, the candlelight, the beer, the careful presentation. Then his eyes found her, the dress, the scent, the effort. "You okay?" he asked, a hesitant smile tugging at his lips. "You look kind of amazing." "Sit down," she said calmly. "We need to talk." He hesitated, then lowered himself into the chair like a man waiting for bad news. Taking the seat across from him, Evelyn felt her heart hammering in her chest. "I've been feeling empty," she began, not bothering with a preamble. "For a long time. I've tried everything: therapy, journaling, yoga." She drew in a slow breath. "But it hasn't helped. I still feel invisible. I want to feel wanted again. I want to feel alive, and I don't think I can do that inside this marriage." Benjamin paused mid-motion, his fork hanging in the air. "You're asking for an open marriage?" he said, voice flat. She shook her head slowly. "No, I'm not asking. I've made my choice." Her eyes were unwavering. "I'm going to be with other people. Just for a while. A few months. Then we'll reassess." Benjamin didn't raise his voice. He didn't argue. And somehow, that felt worse. "There's already someone, isn't there?" he asked, eerily calm. She hesitated, then offered a quiet nod. "Yes, someone from work. But it's not emotional. It's about rediscovering myself." Benjamin carefully pushed his plate away and rose with slow precision. "Then I'll sleep in the guest room tonight," he said, his voice distant. Evelyn's throat tightened. All right. And I'm not going to pretend this is normal. We're not okay. He stepped back, a chill in his eyes. You made your move. Now I'll make mine. With that, he turned and walked away. Left at the table, Evelyn sat in the flickering candlelight, uncertain whether she'd seized control of her life or just broken something that couldn't be mended. Down the hall, behind a closed door, Benjamin remained silent. No cries. No slammed doors. Just a quiet, knowing smile, because Evelyn had no idea what came next. The following morning, adrenaline still coursed through Evelyn like a tidal current. The night had ended wrapped in the arms of Zane Hollis, the daring, dangerously charming consultant from her office. His scent still clung to the sheets, heavy with temptation and consequence. She rolled over in the vast king-sized bed, tangled in blankets and uncertainty. It was the first night in years she hadn't slept alone, but Benjamin had remained silent. Barefoot, she padded into the kitchen, her silk robe loose at the waist. The guest room door remained shut. The kitchen was untouched. No breakfast, no sound, no sign of life. Just the cold stillness of a man who had either gone numb or was strategizing. By noon, her phone rang. Daphne's voice sparkled through the speaker. All right, honey, she said. Tell me everything. Had Zane slipped out before the sun crested the horizon, or had he lingered long enough to cook eggs in nothing but his briefs? Evelyn let out a brittle laugh. He was already gone before she had fully come to. No breakfast, no tenderness. Daphne gave a sly grin. Even better. Detached means safer. And let's be real, Benjamin isn't in the dark. He knows the score. Evelyn bit down lightly on her lip. He hasn't said a single thing. Of course not. The quiet ones always pack the most danger, but you're not out to wound him, babe. You're just chasing something that feels real. That afternoon, while Evelyn was knee-deep in invoices, Zane appeared beside her desk. He leaned in with the ease of someone who'd known her body, smelling like cedarwood and dominance, flashing a smile that hinted at promises he'd never keep. You looked incredible last night, he whispered. Is your husband always that quiet? Evelyn's stomach nodded. He's just working through things. Working through, huh? Zane chuckled. While he's busy doing that, maybe I swing by again later. She hesitated, then nodded. Sure. That night unraveled into sheets twisted in heat, and laughter gasped between kisses, their limbs entangled, their mouths stained with wine and lies. And somewhere in the blur of skin and deceit, Evelyn convinced herself she was healing, becoming someone different. A few doors down, Benjamin sat still at the edge of the guest bed, noise-canceling headphones in place, eyes fixed on his laptop screen. Tiny cameras blinked throughout the house, one in the hallway, another tucked near the living room ceiling, one barely noticeable at the bed's headboard. He was watching, listening, storing every breath, every moan Zane drew from Evelyn. Benjamin cataloged it all, marked with timestamps, and neatly stored under a folder titled Consent. For the next week, Evelyn lived two lives, mimosas and sunny smiles with Daphne by day, secretive nights tangled in Zane's arms, lies passed through cubicles, staged phone calls to her mother, cheerful voices speaking of a picture-perfect life. She even dusted off an old journal, scribbling out dreams of launching a boutique marketing firm, maybe relocating to Austin. Reinvention loomed just beyond the end of her marriage with Benjamin. But Benjamin wasn't idle. At work, he cashed in an old favor from Caleb Rowan, a cybersecurity consultant he'd once helped through a messy legal entanglement. In return, Caleb handed over full access to Evelyn's synced cloud, her notes, her documents, her messages, every last chat from her professional account. 1 week later, the office buzzed with scandal. Zane Hollis was engaged to an art curator from Seattle. Evelyn was blindsided. Benjamin wasn't. He had already sent the anonymous tip, a burner email. Subject, thought you should know. Body, check the cloud. It's all there. And more is coming. B. She opened the file. Photos of Zane and his fiancée, choosing rings, sharing meals with family, attending art exhibits, all within the past 2 weeks. Evelyn's fingers trembled. Then the video played. Footage of her and Zane in bed. Their bed, clear, close, and damning. Her voice rising in pleasure, echoing truths she couldn't take back. The panic came like a freight train. Her phone hit the floor. Her heart pounded. Slowly, her eyes turned toward the closed guest room door. Silence. No confrontation. No explosion. Just stillness. Benjamin wasn't speaking. He was too quiet. And in that void, something shifted in her. He wasn't devastated. He wasn't clinging. He was watching her unravel and documenting every heartbeat of the collapse. This wasn't heartbreak. It was strategy. She collapsed to the bathroom tiles, breath shallow, eyes wild. The shower ran overhead, but it couldn't drown out the storm tearing through her mind. She kept replaying it. Check the cloud. It's all there. And what's coming next? She hadn't noticed Benjamin leave that morning, but she knew he had. His boots were gone. The truck wasn't in the driveway. No farewell, no confrontation, just absence. And that silence? It was more terrifying than fury. That evening, Daphne shoved the front door open without knocking, heels hammering the floor like gunshots. "Evelyn," she barked, slamming it behind her. My department got an unmarked envelope. Screenshots, email chains, message logs. Half of it's me and Leo. The rest is you and Zane. The entire office is talking. Everyone knows. Evelyn stood there, hollowed out and speechless. It's Benjamin. He's the one leaking it. Bit by bit. On purpose. Daphne's expression drained of color. "How much does he have?" Evelyn whispered. "Everything." Daphne sank onto the couch, her hands visibly shaking. Leo's wife showed up at my house, with her attorney, screaming, threatening lawsuits. Evelyn pressed her fingertips to her temple, trembling. Zane was taken, engaged. I hadn't the slightest idea. Daphne scoffed, exasperated. Of course he was. Men like that never carry warning labels. Her tone sharpened like a knife. They come gift-wrapped in charm. Her face hardened. Her words hit with precision. "This was supposed to be empowering," Evelyn said, jaw clenched. "Not career-ending. You said it would help my marriage." Daphne's answer landed like a blow. "You made the call. I didn't shove you into Zane's bed." Evelyn opened her mouth to argue, but her phone lit up. A new message. Unknown number. HR has been notified. An internal review is in progress. We advise seeking legal counsel. Her stomach lurched. "They're coming for my job," she breathed. Daphne let out a dry, mirthless laugh. "Welcome to the fallout." The following morning, as Evelyn entered the office lobby, eyes locked onto her like lasers. Murmurs drifted from workstation to workstation, as intangible as smoke in sunlight. Her login credentials? Revoked. Her employee badge? Useless. Before she could even approach her desk, 2 security guards intercepted her. No words were spoken as they escorted her outside. Standing on the front steps, her phone rang. Gabrielle Houston, her manager. "I can't cover for you," Gabrielle said, voice tight. "There's surveillance, Evelyn, video, audio, from inside your home. Multiple recordings, during work hours, on company property. The board is furious." Evelyn wept. She pleaded. She begged. None of it mattered. By the end of the week, both she and Daphne were suspended. Zane Hollis released a flawlessly crafted public statement, positioning himself as the misled victim, emotionally used. His fiancée walked out anyway. But Evelyn? She was left exposed. And Benjamin? He vanished. No dramatic exit, no confrontations, no final message, just silence and small strategic strikes. A leaked message here, a whispered rumor there. The quiet, meticulous unraveling only a man with a plan could execute. That weekend, she returned to her doorstep and found a manila envelope. Inside, divorce papers. Benjamin's signature marked the bottom. No alimony, no financial agreement. Just a clean clause. Infidelity documented. Reputation damaged. Emotional abandonment confirmed. Her lawyer didn't sugarcoat it. He's building a rock-solid case. He's got everything he needs. Evelyn collapsed inward, hollowed by the truth. And Benjamin? He thrived. Back to his morning workouts. First in the office. Always groomed. Always calm. Co-workers noticed his serenity. Neighbors commented on his polite demeanor. Because vengeance doesn't shout. It doesn't throw fits. It strategizes. It waits. It was Benjamin Dorsey. And Evelyn, who once believed she was in control, had become just another cautionary tale. The courtroom smelled like stale coffee and damp paper. Evelyn sat stiffly at the defense table, drowning in a blazer Daphne had scrounged up from deep in her closet, one from before Evelyn's reinvention. Her attorney, Adrian Miles, leaned in with a voice thick with fatigue. He won't settle. He wants full control. Even the dog, Evelyn. Evelyn blinked. We never had a dog. He knows. He just wants you to grasp that, if you did, he could take it. Across the courtroom, Benjamin sat beside his lawyer, expression unreadable, posture relaxed. Not gloating, not furious, just finished. The judge, an austere woman with hair like steel wool and eyes like razors, tapped her pen against the desk. Based on the extensive evidence submitted by Mr. Dorsey's legal team, including dated surveillance, archived correspondence, and supporting witness accounts, this court finds sufficient cause to expedite this divorce. Evelyn felt something inside her shatter. No support, no shared property. Her name scrubbed from the lease, and worst of all, her humiliation, official, public, permanent. Outside, the daylight felt cruel. City noise buzzed around her like static. She stumbled down the courthouse steps. Daphne waited below, makeup smeared, hair thrown into a rushed bun. I got fired, she said, voice flat. Leo's suing me, says I destroyed his marriage. My landlord's kicking me out. His wife saw the video. Thinks we're running some underground escort business. Evelyn let out a jagged, bitter laugh. We thought we were chasing empowerment. Daphne stared at her, jaw clenched. No, we were just restless. And we forgot something important. The people we tried to run from, they know how to strike back. They sat together on a bench as the world passed them by. Eventually, Daphne spoke. You know what Benjamin told Leo at the gym? Evelyn shook her head. What? He said, I didn't leave her. I just stepped aside. Evelyn's breath caught. That's haunting. Absolutely not, Daphne said. That's appalling. Later that night, Evelyn wandered past the home that used to be hers, now owned by Benjamin. She paused across the street. The porch glowed warmly in the evening light, and laughter spilled through the open windows. A woman's laugh. A dinner party, maybe? Evelyn narrowed her gaze. There he was, Benjamin, looking relaxed and at ease. Standing near him, a woman leaned in. Hannah, something like that. She worked in HR at his firm. Elegant, self-assured, she moved like someone who'd never once questioned whether she belonged. Then Benjamin leaned in and kissed her on the cheek. It wasn't friendly. It was familiar, tender. Evelyn's knees weakened. He hadn't simply moved on. He'd rewritten the story completely. He'd laid their past to rest with grace and crafted a new narrative, one that flourished in her absence. She turned away, dizzy, her phone vibrating in her coat. Breaking. Corporate probe launched after former employee misconduct scandal. Her name, once more, blazed across headlines. Whispered in boardrooms she'd never enter again. She had become a warning, a story told in shame. And Benjamin? He never said a word. His silence was a thunderclap. 6 months later, The walls of Evelyn's apartment were as thin and lifeless as her routine. Her job, answering phones on a temp gig at a company that sold gag gifts and spare parts. Her social circle? Non-existent. Even Daphne had slipped away, her own legal troubles dragging her into disrepute. Evelyn's name still surfaced now and then, the wife caught on camera, branded in headlines and hashtags. Feminist fraud? Adulterous villain? Her life had become internet folklore, the downfall of Evelyn Dorsey. She'd stopped reading the comments long ago. The internet didn't forgive, and it never forgot. Night after night she sat in darkness, replaying choices that once felt like liberation. Now they rang hollow, madness in disguise, and without fail, she logged into her fake account, stalking Benjamin's curated life. He posted nothing. Hannah did. Pictures of laughter-filled brunches, cozy vacations, a fluffy puppy, a peaceful, ordered life. One that made it painfully clear Evelyn had been deleted like a typo. Until one evening, the buzzer sounded. Evelyn froze. No one ever came. She cracked the door open. Benjamin stood on the other side, still composed, still calm, but something unreadable lingered in his eyes. "Can we talk?" he asked. She stepped aside. He walked in, his eyes scanning the modest apartment. "It's simple," he noted. "I lost the condo after the indictment," she replied. He gave a short nod. "I heard." They sat, him at one end of the couch, her at the other. The silence between them was wide and heavy. Eventually, she broke it. "You didn't come just to see the wreckage." "No," he replied. "I came to give you something." He pulled a flash drive from his coat and placed it gently on the coffee table. "What is that?" "Everything I ever recorded. Video, audio, emails, screenshots. From the house, the office. It's all there." She stared at it. "Why would you give this to me?" "Because now it belongs to you. Delete it. Expose it. It's your decision. You still have one." She studied him. "You planned this?" He paused in the doorway. "No. I just stopped hiding. You're the one who buried the truth." He left. The door clicked softly behind him. Evelyn stood still. Then, hesitantly, she reached for the flash drive, as if it might burn her fingers. That night, sleep didn't come, not from shame, but from a piercing clarity that settled in her chest. Benjamin hadn't just walked away. He'd handed her a mirror. And this time, she couldn't look away. The next morning, she sealed the flash drive in an envelope. Not for journalists, not for a court. She mailed it to herself. A keepsake. Of the woman she had been, and the one she could never afford to become again. 1 year later, Evelyn now stood behind the counter of a small-town bakery, far from the city where her name had once sparked scandal. Flour dusted her apron, her hair was pinned up, and her smile, this time, was genuine. A young woman leaned forward. "Wait, aren't you that person? From the video?" Evelyn met her gaze calmly. "I was." The woman hesitated. "You were really brave." Evelyn tilted her head slightly. "No, I was reckless." She handed over a box of pastries. "But I'm learning what bravery really looks like." Outside, she flipped the sign to closed and turned the lock. Some stories end in revenge, others in redemption. Hers ended in quiet, and a long, hard journey back to someone she could live with becoming. This story has come to an end. What's your opinion? Share it in the comments, my friend. And if you liked this story, check out other exciting videos on my channel. I'll say goodbye until the next video. See you.